All right, Brian Carroll here for Apartment 613, and I'm interviewing Eric Kujala from the Ottawa Centre of the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada. Eric, thank you very much for agreeing to this interview. We very much appreciate this because I think this is really interesting stuff. So, I've got a long list of questions. I will be taking some notes while I'm doing this, even though we're recording. It just gives me a way of finding my way into the interview material when I'm editing. Okay, so let's start off with something because our readers don't necessarily know what is the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada.
The RASC is an amateur group of astronomers who got together about 150 years ago originally and decided to make a club that promotes astronomy, and they were actually professionals who were interested in making astronomy available to the public, as well as being an organization for themselves as professionals. They found that getting together to discuss astronomical matters was very important. It was based on the old British system, the Royal British Astronomy Association, their association, and so the RASC, which began in 1868, they'll be celebrating their 150th next year. Their mandate is to promote astronomy to the public.
Cool. I'm just catching up. Great. So what's the Ottawa chapter of the RASC?
Well, the Ottawa chapter, it began in 1906, and they originally met at the Dominion Observatory here in Ottawa, not just down the road from here actually, and they were made up of local professionals, not just astronomers, but there were actually a lot of scientists and so on who were part of the RASC back then, and it's grown over the last 110 years to today. It's a very big group of people in Ottawa. I think we have over 300 members now, and our mandate is to do what we've done all along, is to promote astronomy and to bring it to the public.
Lovely. Bring to the public. Okay. All right. Where do they meet?
These days we meet at the Canadian National Aviation and Space Museum at Rockcliffe. We used to meet at the Science and Technology Museum, but they've been going under. They've been doing renovations the last couple of years, so we moved to the Aviation Museum, and we also have star parties out at the Carp Library, the Diefenbunker, and we have a lot of events going on across the city, but our hub is the Aviation Museum.
Cool. So who can attend the Ottawa RASC meetings?
Anybody. We're really focused on that, is making the public invited to join us and see what astronomy is really about. We have a lot of outreaches as well, and we recently had a public event on Parliament Hill where we were inviting people to watch the transit of Mercury.
Nice.
And we had over 2,000 people watch that event. But our meetings at the museum are free and open to the public, and we invite people to come down and see what we're about and think about becoming members.
Cool. All right. When do they meet?
We meet every first Friday of the month, unless if it's a holiday, like coming up July 1st holiday. So we've moved it to July the 8th.
Okay.
But normally first Friday of the month, meetings start at 7:30,
Mm-hmm.
and we're also trying to do other events, like I mentioned, star parties, and we also have workshops that we hold
Nice.
at other locations. Those are normally announced on our website.
What would a typical workshop be, or what would an example workshop be?
Well, for example, Jim Thompson's doing a series of astronomy workshops out of his office, his location. He's an engineer in the east end of Ottawa, and we invite people to come to these workshops because we can concentrate on a particular topic more in those workshops. These are held in his office, in his boardroom.
Okay.
And we.
What would an example topic be?
For example, Simon Hanmer recently did a project called Voyage to Mars, talking about the geology of Mars and what would it be like for a person walking on Mars to do geology and that kind of thing. Jim also did a workshop on stellar evolution. And the birth and death of stars, and that's a big subject to cover right there.
Wow. Wow. Okay. What if someone's sick or stuck at home or out of town, and there's a meeting going on?
Well, that's where I come in. Or a snowstorm. I've brought webcasting to the RASC as a way for members or anyone really who wants to see the meeting to see it from the comfort of their home or office or wherever they are. They could be using a mobile device, and what I do is I make it possible through the internet for them to see the meeting, listen to the speakers, and also to view the images that are presented. And the RASC meetings are very visually oriented. Obviously, a lot of it involves astrophotography and things like that. So that's what I bring into for people to participate online.
Fabulous. Okay. So you've got video running. What happens to the videos of the meetings afterwards?
After the webcast, the webcast itself is available for about a month. Then I'll do an edit of the meeting and fine-tune it, maybe add some elements that were not shown at the meeting, maybe were not available. There's always some technical problems when it's a live event. So if there's a pause that should be taken out or a graphic that should be added, that's what I'll do, and then I'll publish it to YouTube.
Okay. Now, I've seen some of these on YouTube, and they're extraordinarily high quality video, at least on my computer.
I do my best to bring the highest quality possible with the equipment I have. I am a videographer by trade, so I have access to much higher quality gear than most people would, and the quality is also important because especially the images, if you appreciate the amount of work that astrophotographers put into their photos, you want that to come across in the presentation, and that's what I try to do is bring out that detail.
Frankly, Eric, some of the images that I've seen on the YouTube videos just blow me away. They're just so spectacularly beautiful. It's unbelievable.
I've actually had presenters tell me that they appreciated the video more than being at the meeting, because at the meeting you're watching a screen, and you're not getting the same detail that you would off your own personal device or computer, because those images are transmitted directly. Yeah. And so I try to the detail is available as much as possible. And there's a lot of other things too, graphics and things that are shown, and we use a laser pointer on the screen. So sometimes I will shoot the screen itself, and with the laser pointer, that'll come up, and people will actually see it better on the video than when they were there.
Okay. All right. How big are the archives right now?
Well, we're going, my first meeting that I recorded was 2007. And I'm working my way backwards to that right now from present, and we're at about 2010 right now. So we have about 120 videos available online at the moment, and that's the meetings and presentations and workshops and other events that we've covered. So we've got about 100, 120, I never counted them, but about that number on, and they'll just keep growing. And I'm hoping that eventually we can have an indexing system so that if you're looking for a particular topic, you can search it through a database.
Right. Okay. That's a lot of video. So a new visitor would find that pretty daunting. Can you help us guide a new visitor into the archive, please? Is that possible? I've got some questions to try to help us with that.
The archive is set up by year, and then by month. As I mentioned, it's not set up by subject yet, and that's something I want to see done so that when they're looking for a particular topic, they can just index that word and it'll bring them to that video, that YouTube video. I'm also counting on YouTube actually keeping all the videos online, because if they weren't online, it would be impossible for us to do it. We don't have a server big enough to hold all that video data, and it's all in high definition, by the way. So.
Right. Yes.
Does that answer your question?
Oh, yes. Okay. So. One of the popular things at the meeting seems to be planetary geology. Where's a good place to start in the archive for that? Or is there a good person to start with for that?
We've done a lot with Simon Hanmer on planetary geology. He's a professional geologist, and so he's lent his expertise to studying other bodies, the moons of Jupiter, for example, the Mars, the Venus. He's done a series on Venus and the Moon.
Okay.
And so Simon actually has a set of presentations that we've highlighted on the website that you could go to directly.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll put links into the blog to particular meetings. Okay. All right. Speaking of craters, RASC Ottawa has had people who actually travel to craters. Can you talk a bit about that, please?
Well, impact craters are actually my interest. I actually got involved in the RASC because I met a fellow who's a crater. He studies craters. His name is Chuck O'Dale, and he and I actually connected on the internet about 11 years ago, wanting to go to a crater in northern Quebec called the Pingueluit crater. And so when I found out he was right here in Ottawa, I said, well, let's meet, and we did, and we eventually planned to go to that crater, and we did, and we became crater buddies, crater explorers together, kind of like Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, just going out to visit crater sites across Ontario and Quebec.
Great. Thank you. All right. Still on craters. Earth's moon is visible a lot of the time. Now, I know some astronomers complain about that, but where's a good place to start in the archive for something about the moon?
The moon, we don't have a specific archive for the moon, but we call him our resident, what do you call it, lunatic, is Brian McCullough. He's our moon guy, and so anything involving the moon, he's normally involved in. I mean, Brian knows a lot about astronomy in general, but the moon is his specialty, and that. So any video involving Brian would teach you a lot about the moon.
Okay. All right. I'll make sure I get something for that. Another popular item is what's new, what's brand new in astronomy. Who's on top of that?
We have a 10-minute astronomy news update that's normally given by Al Scott, and that's near the beginning of the meeting. We have after the introduction, we have a series called Ottawa Skies, where we do an astronomical forecast, upcoming events, and then after that, Al will talk about the most recent developments in astronomy, things that have happened. Like, for example, recently we had the LIGOS, the laser interferometer system that detected gravitational waves, and then this month we had a focus on a supernova that caused some iron 60 isotopes to come our way, and telling us about this object that exploded a few hundred light years away from us.
Cool. All right, not all astronomy is new. There's a long history to this. Where do you start for astronomy in the archive?
Well,
there's one woman I'm thinking.
Well, well, we do have a person who's been she's been talking about the history of astronomy. That's Carmen Rush, and yeah, I mean the history of astronomy itself is enormous. I mean, it's the oldest science we know of, actually, and so she's been doing a lot of more recent astronomers talking about the last 500 years. That's who would be doing that.
Cool. Okay. All right. Now, there are a fair number of the people that you've been talking about have been doing astronomy for quite some time, but there are new generations of presenters at the RASC Ottawa. And two co-presenters come to my mind anyway. Would you care to talk about a father-daughter team that presents?
Yeah. This is great. I mean, Gordon Webster and his daughter Julia, they've brought a new dimension to astronomy by showing how even a child can get involved in astronomy. And Julia has been a real blessing to us. She basically represents the future for our club and for astronomy in general. Showing that astronomy is really something that young people should get involved in, all the way to toddlers. Really, as soon as she was 4 years old, and she already started doing observing. And she, and through a child's eyes, observing is an interesting thing, because they see things that we may not see. Plus their children normally have very good eyesight.
Yes.
After a while, the eyes start to glaze over a little bit. So with fresh young eyes like that, astronomy is a wonderful thing for them to learn about the universe, about our world, and about science too, because science is the main focus of the RASC. It's a big part of who we are. We also, We do talk about the beauty of the universe.
Mm-hmm.
It's that subjective quality.
Mm-hmm.
But we really are scientifically minded. We our focus is on what astronomy can teach us.
Okay. All right. Now I think you've mentioned some of this already. RASC Ottawa has some accomplished astrophotographers. I know that some have had their work on sale at Cube Gallery here in Ottawa. Some have published in astronomy magazines. Their images, as I said, in the archive are stunningly beautiful. Where do you start in the archive? Is there some place to look for? Are there particular names to watch for?
We have a very long list of astrophotographers, and I should mention Gordon Webster is an astro sketcher. He doesn't photograph objects; he actually draws them by looking through the telescope and then drawing what he sees. We've through the years we've had a lot of people contribute their work to our archives, and our website now has a very good collection of these photographs and more recently also animations, because we have people who are they're not just photographing the sky, they're filming the sky now and using the stop motion photography to add that dimension of motion that wasn't possible before.
Okay. All right.
I don't know if I should name names.
Well, that's okay. But we'll get around after the interview. I'll talk to you about photos.
Sure.
Okay. So that's cool. Now, is there a particular section of the meeting that's set aside for astrophotography?
Yes, the meeting is set up in two parts with a break, and in the second part. Normally after a presentation, we have a section called observation reports, where anyone can contribute photos and show them at our meeting and describe how they took the photo, where they were, what kind of equipment they used, and talking about the object itself. And the observation reports are really a staple of our meetings. That's where we get into the meat of what we do in astronomy, and it doesn't matter what kind of camera you used or the quality. We've had beginners come in with fuzzy pictures, but it was their first picture, and we encourage them to go from there and try to do better.
Cool. So we've been talking about what the local members have been doing, but I also know that RASC Ottawa also gets some very impressive guest speakers. Any must-sees in the collection? I didn't say I wouldn't put you on the spot.
Yeah. We've had a lot. I mean, I'm not good for names right now, but we've had a lot of people professionals who've come in from not just across Canada, but across the United States as well. Come in. What's his name again? I'm sorry, I can't remember.
You could tell me what the project was, or something like that.
Well, for example, Haley Spears did a presentation on astrobiology, where she talked about, well, what is the definition of life, and what we should look for in when we try to find life outside the Earth. That one comes to mind.
Cool. You've just taken care of one of my questions. All right. Good. Okay. Ivan Semeniuk, science writer for the Globe and Mail, presented recently.
Yes.
Can you please tell us a little bit about that?
His talk was about dark matter and dark energy, and his talk was basically about how this is where astronomy is headed to. is studying what actually makes up more than 80% of our universe. We've been studying the universe optically through and looking at the matter that we're more familiar with, but his talk had a lot more to do with when we study dark matter and dark energy and what that will really tell us about the universe.
Cool. All right. Oops. Taking care of that one. Is there a question I should have asked you?
How does webcasting actually work?
Sure. Okay, you asked.
Okay, so webcasting is a lot like television broadcasting. We use video cameras, microphones, computers. We're hooked up to the internet, and webcasting is like putting on a TV show. Now, I've always felt that television and the internet, so far, they haven't been used very well. There's I want to be blunt in saying that I think, and a lot of people would agree with me that on television and on the internet, there's a lot of mindless garbage. And so there's room to put some really good content in there, and that's why I do webcasting of the RASC meetings, because these are wonderful technologies, and we've tried actually to do television broadcasting. Didn't get a very good response there, so we went to the internet and decided to have our own setup and webcast. And this is where I'm hoping the internet will go, is towards more constructive use of this technology, to teach people and inform them and so on, because I feel that astronomy and science are key to us solving the challenges that we face in this world, in energy and so on. That there's a lot that we can do if we just learn the science. And most people aren't aware of what can be done through science to solve these problems. I'm studying a form of energy right now that is bigger than fossil fuels. In fact, it's probably the biggest source of energy on the earth. And I'm ready to do a presentation on that.
Cool. All right. Eric, thank you. This, as you can tell by the amount of notes that I was taking, this exceeds what I was hoping for. Thank you very much, Eric. Okay, I'm Brian Carrol from Apartment 613, and I'm interviewing Eric Kujala. Eric, what is the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada?
The RASC is a group of local astronomers and scientists and other professionals, people of really of all walks of life, who've gotten together to promote and to share their astronomy.
Cool. All right. What's the Ottawa chapter of the RASC?
The Ottawa chapter is part of 28 centers in Canada that are focused on doing astrophotography, teaching about astronomy, teaching about the universe, cosmology, and we're a group of about 300 people who meet once a month and talk about astronomy.
Cool. All right. So where do they meet?
We meet at the Aviation and Space Museum at Rockcliffe.
Okay. Lovely. And who can attend the meetings?
Anyone. We're very keen on inviting the public to join us and learn about astronomy.
Lovely. All right. When do they meet?
We meet the first Friday of the month unless if it's a holiday, like the upcoming Canada Day is on July the 1st, Friday. So we'll have our next meeting on July the 8th.
All right. Now, what happens if somebody's sick, stuck at home, there's a snowstorm, or they're out of town?
Well, that's where I come in. We can actually go to you and bring our meetings to you online on the internet for free. All you have to do is log into our RASC web link, and you can watch us on your mobile device, your desktop, anywhere where you have the internet.
All right. Now, what happened? You've got video cameras, so what happens to the videos of the meetings afterwards?
The meetings are webcast live, and after that I save them to the same web link, and they're viewable on demand through that site.
Okay. Now, are they on that site permanently?
They're normally left on that site for about 30 days, which gives me time then to fine-tune the presentation and publish it to YouTube.
Okay. And so there's a lot of them now on YouTube.
Yes, so we've recorded over 120 presentations, workshops, and events to YouTube, and the links to all of those are available on the Ottawa RASC website.
Okay. Now, I've seen some of those, and they are extraordinarily high-quality videos.
I do my best to provide a professional level of quality of our presentations. The RASC has high standards, and we try to show that in everything that we do, including our webcasts and our video productions.
Cool. And it's not just presentations, but also there's some wonderfully beautiful astrophotography that winds up in those archives. Tell us a little about that.
Yes, the astrophotography is a staple of our meetings and our work. The RASC is very visually oriented, obviously, so providing high quality photographs online and showing those on the videos in high quality is very important to me.
Fabulous. Eric, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Now, Eric, you've been telling me about RASC and specifically about craters. And I understand that the local chapter has people who actually travel to craters. Can you talk about that, please?
Yes, actually, myself and my partner Chuck O'Dale, we've been exploring impact craters for the last 11 years, and it was the reason why I met Chuck, and we ended up partnering to do that as a science, and so we study impact craters. We visit the sites. We do science on site, and we try to find evidence also for new craters.
Cool. Thank you, Eric.